Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us scriptures, among other things, and salutations to all the Akyam across the earth who doing this work in sincerity and the truth. And shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters who are at home watching the videos and do their best to please Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai. So yeah, man, this video basically want to jump into this article, and there's a lot going on, so Trump, he went to Venezuela, arrested President Maduro and the vice president. That was a woman, but she has a brother now basically taking the lead. I forgot the name thereof. Give me 1 second. See if I can find it. So so the Rodriguez is now officially how do you call that? You see, for Rodriguez is officially sworn in as interim president of Venezuela, and he said that Maduro is still the legit president. And Trump is all talking all that shit because we already know, everybody knows it's about the oil, because Venezuela got the largest oil reserves of the world. And Trump was talking about that he was getting about like 50 million of billiard of oil. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look it up. And he said he's gonna buy it on the, how you call that? On the market price. So he's not even gonna pay top dollar for it, So this is here what he said. Trump claims billions of dollars worth of Venezuelan oils. And he said that Venezuela had to cut ties with Russia and China, also with Iran. He said that they were not allowed. So basically, he named a bunch of countries, and basically, if you look at it, he means that they are only allowed to sell the oil to him. And everybody already knew it's about the oil, and now you got the people from Europe, NATO also checking. Since Trump also is annexing Greenland, so Greenland is a colony of Denmark, and they are basically to be on their own. And now it's Trump there, and he said like he's going to want to buy it, but he said if it's necessary, he will also use the military force. And since he did that action with President Maduro, I said it's clear to the rest of the world that Trump is like a loose projectile, and he will do whatever he feels. But of course, it is Yahweh Ratazah is the Lord's will. And let me jump real quick to the book of Proverbs. Let me see. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21. And verse 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of waters. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, is in the hand of the Heavenly Father, how he decides whatever Trump's got to do. And if you are aware of prophecy, things that need to happen, well, first and foremost, everybody got to hate America. That's also a thing that needs to happen. They all shall hate the whore. That's also a prophecy that needs to be fulfilled. Yeah, I'm dealing here with snow and shit, but yeah, this is what it is. What was I saying? Oh yeah, they all shall hate the whore, and that's talking about America, because eventually everybody's gonna turn against America. and America is going to be destroyed. That's the prophecy of America, and it will happen. Let me see, the book of Revelations, chapter 16, and this talking about NATO, you know. There's the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 16, and the 10 hordes, and that's talking about NATO, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate, and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, because America is going to be a lake of fire. You know, everyone, all these countries are gonna, I say that, point their missiles, shoot their missiles at America. For Yahweh had put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the word of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And that's America, going around like the hammer of the earth, you know, going around like the hammer of the earth. But, you know, it's getting to an end. You know, it's getting to an end. So more and more countries are taking a stance against it. And this article I'm about to go into, it talks about a ship that America been after that ship for a couple of weeks already, or even if it is a week. I think it's a week. So yeah, they've been pursuing a ship for a week, and Russia warned them because it was first sailing on another flag from another country, and then they changed the name of the ship and painted, and it was even an empty ship, and they painted a Russia flag on it. And Putin said that how do you say it, that they cannot touch his ship. But this ship, you know, was empty, so Trump took it eventually today. They took it, and Putin was angry because he sent some submarines, I believe even a warship, basically to protect that ship. But you know, America still took it with the help of the British army, you know, from the UK, and so they took it. But I also saw clips of ships from Iran and China, I believe, at least was China, maybe Brazil also, leaving with oil from Venezuela. And you know, Trump was basically, you know, the fight ships that he had over there, the Marine, the Air Force, and all that. They basically let the ships go, you know. So that's you know, there's also a lot of things that you will not really find out what it is, you know. And yeah, about Maduro, I also saw a clip about him speaking against the small heads, you know, the big nose people. And another effect is that Venezuela doesn't have a central bank, and it's been known, you know, the same with Cuba, you know, countries that don't accept the central bank, you know, from the Rothschilds, they are being boycott, and basically, you know, they try to break them in order for them to receive that bank, you know, so that they are under control of the small heads. But yeah, and there's also another thing, because Trump also told how you say that, Venezuela. So you know, first he was talking about that they gonna put some leaders over there and basically take control of the country until the country is stable. But you know, that vice president, the Rodriguez, you know, she was basically the vice president, but she let her brother took the place as it's supposed to be, you know, because a woman ain't supposed to be in a leader position anyway. And yet that female that fled from Venezuela to get that Nobel Prize of Peace. Forgot her name of the female, 85 years old, dumbass female. And you know, and that's also funny because you know, there's the same thing with Guaido. Was the same thing with yeah, Mariana Corina Machado. I was looking like, what was the name again? But she's you know, she's also an ally of the small heads. But she how do you say that? So she thought that when Trump basically removed Maduro, that she is gonna go back to Venezuela and gonna lead the country. But now Trump is also backing up from her and talking about Rodriguez is good there because she wouldn't have enough people to support her, and that's a fact. Because the same way with Guaido, he also tried, like, Guaido won the elections or whatever, but nobody was basically waiting in Venezuela. Nobody was waiting for Guaido, and the same thing with Maduro. So now they now I say that they seized Maduro, they kidnapped him, and the people in Venezuela, they are really they are not against Maduro. This is all this controlled media that we have to deal with, here in the West, because you only hear, if you go to the mainstream news channels and all that, you only hear a one-sided news. The same thing with Ukraine and Russia. They're always talking about how Ukraine is outsmarting Russia and this and that, but meanwhile, you see Russia taking part after part after part. So pulling up on Ukraine. But Trump, I said that Putin is really angry about Trump that he took that ship. But yeah, me personally, I don't think he's going to make a big deal of it, because in first and foremost, that ship was not part of Russia to begin with, and because they changed the way while they were being chased by the American Navy and the Air Force, and then they switched from flag. All of a sudden they started to sail under the flag of Russia. So by law, it's not they're not really under Russia. But we're gonna see what's gonna happen, because it's still like a pissing contest. It's like a pissing contest. Who can piss the farthest? And Trump doesn't really want to mess with Russia, but the Heavenly Father is going to put it in his mind that he's going to do eventually. So it's a matter of time. And he also warned Iran, which over there, yes, a lot of uproars going on over there, people protesting against the government, and they be shooting protesters. They be shooting them over there in Iran. They don't play over there, man. And Trump said if they continue with that, he will interfere. He will interfere there with military force. So Trump is ready, to be the most hated amongst all these countries. You know, so America is getting ready to be destroyed, man, and that's beautiful. It's beautiful because there's a prophecy that eventually needs to happen. But first and foremost, the next big thing that first needs to happen before the Third World War will pop off is the chip. The Mosai is all about decently and order, so that will happen first. So let me jump into the article. So U.S. seizes two oil tankers, including the ship Marinera, after weeks of, it's a couple of weeks, after weeks of pursuit. After a week-long pursuit, U.S. troop boarded an oil tanker that previously escaped a U.S. blockade off the coast of Venezuela. According to U.S. European Command, the ship, recently renamed Marinera, was boarded in the North Atlantic Ocean between Iceland and Scotland. The military reports that the seizure involves a joint effort between the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Homeland Security, among others. The British Ministry of Defence also cooperated in the seizure of the oil tanker. The British Ministry of Defence did so at the request of the US, the ministry reports. And of course, we know all in the background is these small heads that be controlling them, because you don't forget Trump goes every time he goes down to Israel, and that's also people starting ask questions now, because they also see these Amalekites, these big nose people, these small head wearing idiots. They see them as the devils that they are. Because people talking about, why can't Satan Yahoo not being arrested for genocide, but they capture Maduro so-called for drugs, which is a bogus, is a bullshit story, because it's all about the oil. And we already know it. The ship renamed Marina was boarded in the North Atlantic Ocean between Iceland and Scotland. The military reports, I already read that. The blockade of sanctions and illicit Venezuelan oil remains in full force around the world, U.S. Secretary of Defense Hexet wrote on X. The tanker has been on the U.S. sanctions list since June 2024 because it was shipping oil for Hezbollah for a Hezbollah company. That Lebanese group is on the US list of terrorist organization. That's also the thing what these devils do. Everyone that basically step up for his own, basically is not wanna take the abuse of America and other countries of the West. If they step against it, they being flagged as terrorists. So yeah, man, I don't have to read the whole story, but it's creating more tension, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. This is all things that, like I said, it need to happen. And yeah, let me just read this. This book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. You see that? So all these things need to come to pass, but the end is not yet. Like I said, the one major thing that needs to happen is when they're gonna that they have to make the RFID chip mandatory. It's already here, but they have to make it mandatory, and they're busy with it. The digital euro is there. Digital dollar is there. Here in Europe now, you can have your driver license digital. So they're busy with it. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows, and you see these things going on right now. Uproars of the people, military taking over the country and all that, and people fighting in these countries, fighting with each other. Inflation taking over. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and like I said, these things need to happen, man. And like I said, you gotta also take in mind that Trump, as the leader, so-called leader of America, aka Babylon the Great, he needs to do all these things so that everybody got a legit reason to hate them. Because you gotta imagine that all these countries gonna aim their missiles at and shoot it at America. They're gonna be so for in order for America to be destroyed, it means they really have to anger the nations. These countries, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. That's the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee, as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, because those are the things that they used to do with our people, with the so-called Negroes and the so-called Indianos. Those were the things that they were doing with our people. So yeah, hey, they're gonna get it back, man, with the things that they did with the northern tribes and the southern tribes, man. They're gonna pay for it, man. That's what it is. There's no escaping judgment, man. Although it tarry, it will not tarry. Let me see. Was something here. Oh yeah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. And that's also another thing, because after 1,000 years of captivity for all these heathens, they're going in hardcore slavery. After 1,000 years, they're going to get their countries back. But the so-called white people, the Edomites, they're going to be exterminated from the planet, man. Thus said the Bible. For I will rise up against them, said Yahweh of hosts, and that's host means armies, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, said Yahweh. So they're going to be erased. I will also make it a possession for the bitter, and pools of water. I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, said Yahweh of hosts. You see that? And that's the future of America, man. And if you watch these people, of course, it's gonna make you angry, and then you understand, like, yeah, man, they really gotta go, man. 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 So yeah, man, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her, because Russia's gonna come against America, and there are countries they're gonna fight with him. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. So the Most High is going to guide these missiles, and they will not go off target. They will be on target 100%. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, said Yahweh. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O destroyer of my inheritance. Yeah, don't forget what they've been doing to the so-called Negros, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos until this day. Because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and below and bellow as bulls, your mother shall be sore and confounded. That's talking about America, because America have founded America of England. So like that's talking about England. England has founded America. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land and a desert. That's what America is going to be. A dry land and a desert, a wilderness. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited. That's the future of America. Nobody's going to live there. Only crazy animals and all that. It shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at the plagues. It's going to be horrible. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. So all these missiles that they've been building, they're going to use it, man. For she had sinned against Yahweh, shout against her round about. She had given her hand, her foundations are falling, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh that take vengeance upon her, as she had done, do unto her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handled the sickle in the time of harvest. For the fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone. So eventually, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. So eventually, everybody's gonna leave. All these foreigners, that do business over, that have business over there, they're gonna leave their business and go back to their own country. Let me jump to verse 21. Book of Jeremiah 50 and verse 21. Go up against the land of Meratim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekot, waste utterly, destroy after them, said Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. A sound of battle is in the land of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth caught asunder and broken? And that's America, the hammer of the earth. Just check the history, how they've been, a lot of things, they keep it out of the news, but they've been all over the planet messing up all these countries, man. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found also and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Yeah. This is the book of Obadiah, and there's only one chapter there. And verse 2, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And that's exactly what you see going on right now. So Trump talking all this shit, everybody looking at, okay, so he actually went, and take Maduro, and that's basically, they said, yeah, everybody's basically talking about, yeah, that's kidnapping. You just taking over a country, take the president, there's not, an attack, Venezuela didn't even defend himself. They attacked Venezuela, an army base, they attacked, a lot of people died, civilians died, so those are things that they keep out of the news, because a lot of civilians died also. You have local reporters in Venezuela talking about how many people dying and all that. But like I said, we're dealing here in the West. You only hear, you get this one side news, Yeah. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that sit in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Yeah, because these devils, these cave monkeys, used to dwell in the caves, before that. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, said Yahweh. So they might have all these satellites looking up, space station, all these things going on. They will go down. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Yeah, but it's never enough. You see that in America, Trump been putting tariffs on all these countries. Meanwhile, they are consumers, so they need everything from everybody. And now he made a move on Venezuela. We're gonna see, and he told them like they have to break ties with Russia and with China, because China, Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, he was angry too. He said that they immediately need to release Maduro, but we're gonna see what's gonna happen, man. Because, like I said, it's a pissing contest. They're talking a lot, but we're waiting for the action. But first and foremost, the first thing, the major thing that needs to happen is the chip. Make that the RFID chip's gonna be made mandatory. That's the major thing that needs to happen. How are the things of Esau searched out? Book of Obadiah, verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hid things sought up? To the spirit and power of Yahweh Basham Yahushai. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in them. Yeah, because more and more people starting to turn against them, against America. Shall I not in that day, said Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding of the mouth of Esau, the mount of Esau, so the top of Esau, they're gonna have no clue. And the mighty man, Otiman, and it's talking about the wise man. This, you got a lot of professors or whatever, in Germany, and the mighty man Otiman shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mouth of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. That's the future of the so-called white people, man. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces, and foreigners enter into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. And until this day, they own our substance, they own us. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither shouldst thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. So, these devils gonna pay, but all the heathens gonna pay, man. Verse 15, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. You see that? So they all gonna get it, man. There's no one is gonna escape it. And let me jump real quick to the book of Maccabees. Give me a second. This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 10. What nation had not had a part in a kingdom and got enough for spoils? So go on and name one nation that didn't had us in captivity, or is not profiting from the fact that we are at the bottom right now. You see that? There's not one that you can name. That's why they all are going into hardcore bondage. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. And those are the things that we looking forward to, for the big payback, like James Brown, the song, the old song of James Brown, man. So yeah, man, I'm gonna leave it like that. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Basham Yahushai, Basham Rukakadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching the scriptures, among other things, and salutations to all the Akyam across the earth for doing this work in sincerity and truth. So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.